I always been interested in airplanes, and that go back very far. Back in 1967, we bought our first jet. My father was a wholesaler in groceries, and he was a self-made man, and he's the one that really teach me how to business, the basic of business. I went to school, to a boarding school. I was quite young. I was only 10 years old. I think it was an important part of my education because, when you're alone like this at a boarding school, you cannot depend on others. And for me, I think it gave me self-confidence. And I decided to go to Sherbrooke universities, and that's where I met my wife, Claire. I decided to do my CPA, and then I opened my office in Quebec City. My father-in-law asked me to join him to see if I would join him to work with him. The Bombardier was an inventor. He developed snowmobiles. He developed all types of industrial equipment. In the late 50s, he developed the Skidoo.
His name is Laurent Beaudoin. His company is Bombardier Snowmobile, and his product is the Skidoo.
I came in May 1963, and at that time I came in as a controller to support my father-in-law. But only 2 or 3 months after, we found out that my father-in-law had cancer. And then a few months later, February 1964, my father-in-law died. And I became almost managing the place. 3 or 4 months after, I was only 25 years old. The snowmobile industry was doubling every year. And we were right, we were the leader in it. In 1973 came the energy crisis. And that was really fatal for the industry. I was approached by the mayor of Montreal because at that time they were to increase the subway lines in Montreal because of the Olympic Games in 1976. And at the same time, I got a contact from the people in Europe saying, would you be interested to buy a license to build subway cars for Montreal? In June 1974, we won the subway cars for Montreal, and that's the way we got into the transit business. We got small contracts we got one in Chicago to build double-deck cars. We got a project in Mexico to build subway cars in the early 80s. In 82, we got a big subway car contract from New York City. We decided to build on $1 billion subway car contract. We were thinking about a third leg, is there anything else we could do? The Canadian government decided to privatize Canadair. We looked at it and decided to bid on it. And that's how we got into aerospace. When we took over Canadair back in 1986, they had 2 products. They had the Challenger and they had the Water Bomber. In that period, the market for big executive airplane was not very great. There has been a proposal to the previous management that they could expand on the platform of the Challenger, that they could build 50 seats.
Making use of the proven Challenger technology, Bombardier has developed the first 50-passenger jet aircraft specifically intended for the regional airline market.
In early 90s, in 89, we decided to buy Shorts in Northern Ireland. We decided to buy them because we said we could join together, make the airplane together instead of us competing. And we were first company, I would say, in aerospace that had a plant in North America and one in Europe. And it was a very good move that we did at that time. We were continuing to see what we could do from a product side. And in 90, we finally bought Learjet. And later on, we decided to buy the Aviation in Toronto, which was owned at that time by Boeing. I think I basically try to have a long-term view on what I'm doing. I'm trying to at the same time look at all the opportunities. And I was coming back on the plane with Bill Greer, and I said, Bill, what can we do? Can we do something else with the Lear 55, extend the cabin to make it at least a good 6 to 8 passenger? Can we change the engines on the airplane? What can we do? And finally, on the airplane, we almost redesigned a new aircraft, which became the Lear 60. Our customer base was always coming back and say, we need more range on the Challenger. And I was going back to engineers, and I said to engineers, can we increase the range? Every time I was coming back to our engineers, they say, yeah, but you know, we cannot do any more, nothing else. And I was continue to push on them.
I think Laurent is a frustrated engineer. You know, I'm certain he's a great financial wizard. But if he hadn't been that, I think he would have been successful in whatever he did. But I think he would have been a great engineer.
One day I got quite impatient with our people, and I said to our chief engineer at that time, John Holding, I said, John, tell me now, what could you do if you had no restriction?
He was on his way back to downtown, and I got a phone call from his car, and he said, John, we've got to look beyond this. We've got to look, what's the next step? And be creative, look beyond. Where do we go from here? We'll do what we can with the Challenger, but we need to look for the next product. And that's really what started the Global Express.
Then Gulfstream came in between and decided to develop their 550 at that time, and with the 6,500 miles of range. And I told our people, if Gulfstream can do that with the old airplane, why the hell you cannot do it with a new airplane?
That started the whole Global Express, and that's just one example of how we got challenged, and we came and we delivered.
And finally, the Global Express is a very long-range airplane with a very good cabin, you know, that's really, especially today with the market expanding, you know, and the global market as we play in today, people need to travel from, you know, one end of the world to the other end of the world. A very new product in the market today. We have launched a C-Series, you know, in the commercial airline business. We 110 to 130 seats in 2 class, and we bring a lot of new technology in that product. You know, composite wings. The airplane is at least 50% composite. We just launched the 7000, 8000, which 8000 with almost 8,000 miles of range, 7,900 miles of range, and the 7000 with 7,300 miles of range with a bigger cabin, longer cabin than we have on the Global today, about 8 foot longer. The company has changed a lot. I mean, you know, from where I came from, I had to adapt myself. You know, for me, it was a big transformation from managing the operation from when we were in the snowmobile business, then to transit business, then to aerospace, just a different world. What have motivated me all my life is to build something, to see an organization growing, to develop people, to create jobs. I've created a lot of jobs in my life, and to see, like I said, develop something. To me, I'm very product oriented, to see new products in the market, to see people, your name going around the world. My son now is the CEO of Bombardier. I'm very proud of it because he's been with the organization for the last 20-some years. I think for the next 5 years for me is to try to support what our people are doing right now, to support my son in his role as CEO of Bombardier, but at the same time is to try to relax a bit more.
Hello. It's a privilege for me to have the opportunity to congratulate my friend Laurent Beaudoin on his induction into the Living Legends of Aviation group. All of us who've made our living in aerospace these many years will agree that Laurent is one of the great men of our industry. His ability to see value and opportunity in establishing Bombardier Aerospace as the #3 commercial aircraft production company in the world has been a truly extraordinary event. Acquiring Learjet, Canadair, Shorts, and de Havilland, some of the great names in aviation, to produce Bombardier has been a true act of business genius. He's been a leader in the aviation field in many ways. developing the new Learjet 40 and 45, of which we operate a number of those wonderful little aircraft. The Global Express, which we fly almost every day, and the new Learjet 85 and the C-Series on the horizon. I personally was involved with Canadair in the early stages of the Challenger program and met with Laurent when he was deciding whether to launch the Canadair RJ at the time. Of course, all of us know that airplane revolutionized commercial aviation. So it's been a great pleasure to watch Laurent over the years, to be a partner with Bombardier and Laurent and the wonderful team at Bombardier, and all of us at FedEx wish him nothing but the best and congratulate him on this well-deserved honor.